Hi everyone, good morning. I hope you are able to hear me. Can anyone please confirm?
Yes, good morning.
Very good morning. Yeah. So I hope you people gone through the recording of the demo. And in the demo, what I discussed is what are the responsibilities of Azure Data Engineer and how Azure Data Engineering was evolved. So that we came across as part of the demo. So that is not even related to this particular sessions. So that is going to give the overview of why we need to go for Azure Data Engineering. So you can just go through that particular demo and we can understand. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the first session and what exactly we are going to do with Azure Data Engineer. Okay, so first of all, Azure, when I say Azure, it is a cloud. Most of you are aware of it. Okay, so cloud means we need to know about why we need to move towards to the cloud. Whatever the technologies that we are having presently, I mean, even in the decade ago, those particular tools were used to provide a solution for the data. So the data may be a normal data, or data may be big data, but we have a tools or we had already solution for those particular problems. But still, even if there was a Hadoop, why people are moving towards to the cloud is because the cloud is having various services. The cloud is having very easiness to maintain the cluster, to maintain the services. There are many features are available. So because of that reason, people are moving towards to the cloud platform. Either it is a data or infrastructure, whatever. Okay, I'm just going to give some brief idea about it. Okay, so first let me talk about the cloud computing and what do you mean by cloud computing, why we need to go for that. I'm just going to give some brief idea here. If you see, if I wanted to start any restaurant, you just imagine the restaurant budget, I'm just keeping 10L. You just imagine this 10L I wanted to adjust to start my restaurant. Okay, so this is a basic example to understand why we need to come out of on-prem to cloud. So I wanted to start my own building. I wanted to have a own building for my restaurant. Then you can build your house. I mean to say you can build your building, and for that you just imagine 6 lakhs is the budget for that. And furniture is we required furniture to start the restaurant, and manpower is required. This manpower is for every month. Okay, so there are some things which are going to be one-time investment and some things they're going to be repeatedly. And electricity power is also is going to be repeated every month. And security also is going to be repeated maintenance. Material is going to be repeated because every month we have to take the material. And for all these things, we required cooling system. So cooling system setup is 1 lakh, and this will be, I mean, regular charges will be fall under the electricity bill. So all these things you are keeping within your premises, within your own premises. So that is your on-prem. Just imagine there is a person, he also wanted to start the restaurant, but he is not having a budget 10L. He is having a very limited budget. So if that is the case, what most of the people, 80 to 90% of the people will never build a house to start the restaurant. They're going to take the rent. Okay, so let's say for example, if you take an example, like if I wanted to start, I always go with the rent. And one more example, I can say if I wanted to stay in a Bangalore for a week, I don't need to buy a house. I can stay in a hotel. I can do my work. Once my work is completed, then I vacate my location, right? So you can pay only for whatever you use it. I used it for 1 week, so I pay for 1 week. I don't need to buy. So that is what the difference between your on-prem and cloud. Okay, so if you go for this, then building, you're going to pay rent and every month. And furniture is not required because the builder itself has provided the furniture. And manpower is required here and there. Electricity power is required here and there. And security also same. Material is going to be repeated and cooling system is not required because all these things are going to be provided by a vendor, the provider. So here providers will take care about it, most of the things. And only the regular charges only you are going to take care from your side. So with less price, you can start your restaurant. If the business is succeeded, then you can stay in the market. If the business is not succeeded, you don't lose much more. But when it comes to here, if you have everything within your premises, then if the business is lost, then definitely you're going to lose many things. So that this is the on-prem, we can say. This is the on-prem and this is the cloud. So when you compare with our data engineering, like if you wanted to provide a solution for your data, okay, so you're having a problem called big data. If I wanted to provide the solution for my big data, I can have my own services. That means I can keep the services within my premises. Within my premises, I can keep it. So you need to have a data center, you need to have a power grid you required, security is required, physical security, cyber security, cooling system, administrators. So many things we have to invest in order to provide the solution for your data if it is your premises. So why people are coming out of the Hadoop is this is one of the reasons because Hadoop requires on-prem cluster. Okay, so that is little huge cost. So setting up the cluster is going to take too long time, and you have to buy your clusters. I mean, just the machines, and you need to have your own setup team. Okay, so to avoid all those things, if we can provide the solution from the cloud platform with less price, we can provide the solution for your big data. We don't need to buy a cluster. We are going to take a rent, and then we are going to provide the solution. So taking a service for some time, we are taking a service. Just imagine to process the data, it may take for hours to do it. Just imagine it's a one-time job or something like that. Once my work is done, then I don't need their cluster. I don't need their machine. I'm just going to use for my particular point of time and I'm just going to leave it. So we are going to have a pay as you go model. So all the cloud providers provided the pay as you go model to reduce the cost. So there are many benefits are there. So we don't need to know about all these things because we are not part of the administrators or we are not part of the infrastructure side. So we are a data engineers. We are going to provide the solution for the big data. We are not going to create any service. We are not going to create any platform. We are not going to provide any access. That are all going to be taken care by someone else. And we are going to be consumers. We are going to consume the services. Okay. So just for understanding why we need to come out of the on-prem to cloud, I'm just giving a brief idea about it. So on-prem means whatever is there in your premises is known as a on-prem system or on-prem. You can have your own laptop, your own system to process your data. So that is what your on-prem. And whatever is there, someone else premises. With someone else premises, that we can call it as a cloud system. Like we have a Microsoft Azure is there. So Azure is a cloud, GCP is a cloud, AWS is a cloud, Alibaba. So there are many people are there, many vendors are there to provide the services to the customers. Okay, so if the services are if the cluster is in someone else premises and is going to be controlled by someone else, is going to be known as a cloud. So we are not going to have a in our premises. We are not going to install anything. We are not going to have a control on the operating system. Okay, so if that is the case, then we are going to say that is a cloud. We are going to take the services from someone else. So in order to access the cloud, only you require a browser. If you have a browser, you can access the cloud platform. Any cloud platform, we can access it if it is a public cloud. Okay, so that is what the cloud, why we need to have a cloud is to reduce the cost. We are going to have a cloud, and cloud is having three different types of deployment models. So three deployment types of deployment models. One of them only we are going to use in our places, in our working environment, that is public cloud. So we are going to fall under the public cloud only. As an Azure data engineer, Azure is a public cloud. So why it is a public cloud is all the public cloud providers are going to sell the services to the companies, and they're also going to sell the services to individuals also. Any individual can take, any company can take the services. They're open for everyone. So all public providers are open for everyone. Because of that reason, we are calling them as a public cloud. So if the cloud provider allows you to take the services by an individual you can take it, or by any company, is known as a public cloud. So only to take the service from the public cloud, you need to be tenant of the public. You need to be tenant of the public cloud. Then you can take the service. So this diagram says the same thing. You can see a company B is taking the services from the public cloud, or an individual can take the services from the public cloud, and a company A also is taking the services from the public cloud. So like this, there are many companies, many startups companies, bigger companies, middle level companies also taking the services from the public cloud. So most of the market is there with the cloud only presently. Having a on-prem is very, very difficult to maintain the resources. So these are all the examples for your public cloud. So Microsoft Azure is a public cloud. AWS is a public cloud. Alibaba, GCP, IBM Cloud. So the topmost public clouds in the market is first three: Microsoft Azure, AWS, and GCP. The competition is between these two. Okay, so sometimes Microsoft Azure in the top position, some places AWS is in the top position. Especially infrastructure side, infra side, AWS is the number one. And data related side, Azure is the number one. Okay, so maybe in the future, definitely you can see this Azure is going to be, because 10 years lag when you compare with AWS. So later 10 years they started when you compare with the AWS. So soon we are going to see in all the way it is going to be topmost position from the Microsoft Azure. Okay, so this is about the public cloud. So public cloud is going to provide the services for every individual or every company. Before public cloud, there is a private cloud. Before public cloud, there was a private cloud. So private cloud means they're going to give the services to the companies only. They're going to sell their services to the organizations. They do not sell any service to any individual or any company which is not aligned with them. So if they align with that particular company, then they're going to give the service. Let's take an example. There is a company, okay, there is a company, he approached to some service-based company. You can take a TCS or you can take any company, a bigger company can take to get the services. So what the solution architects are going to say is, depends on the customer budget, they're going to plan the budget. They're going to plan the project. Depends on the customer budget. The solution architects are going to plan their process to provide the solution to the customer. So if they're not having a much budget, they may suggest to go for the cloud platform. It all depends. They're going to explain the pros and cons. And based on that, the customer is going to take the decision. And if the customer is not interested to go with the public cloud, so there may be 5 to 10% of the projects in the market. If they are not interested, then what they will suggest is, instead of having a public cloud and instead of having your own premises, you can take the services from me, from my data center. So they have their own data center and they're going to give access from their data center. They will create a virtual machines. Maybe most of you may be aware of virtual machines, how we can connect it or how we can use it. It's like a system. It is going to be there in a virtually. So they can access their, let's say, for example, if you take I need an Oracle system or SAP I required. Okay, so this platform I required, then you may not have this services. Whatever the services the customer is expecting, they are not available in the public cloud. You just imagine. If that is the case, you need to have your own premises, or you need to have your private cloud. So private cloud means it's the same to same like your on-prem. The only thing is you're giving a virtualization to the customer. Only for this customer only you're going to give. If the customer requires Oracle, they will set up the Oracle. If the customer requires SAP, they will set up the SAP in the system and they will give access to the virtual machine. And they are going to access it. So the customer has to pay the license for Oracle, SAP, and infrastructure for this particular cloud provider. So private cloud is also going to be cloud provider only, but they don't give a service to everyone. They're going to give a services to the specific organizations. If the organization is associated with the provider, and they're going to give access to that. And if I wanted to increase the compute, if I wanted to increase the compute for 2 hours, then it is not possible to do here. Whereas in the public cloud, if I need to increase the compute size for 2 hours, I can do it. Later 2 hours, I can make it down. But here it is not going to be possible. Okay, so setup is going to be very much easier when you go for the public cloud, whereas in the private cloud, it takes the days to set up anything. So that is one of the problem here. But if the customer requirement demands, then they're going to choose the private cloud. Okay, so this kind of projects, not even 5 to 10% of the projects in the market, you can just ignore it. We are not going to be part of it anyway. When you come for the AWS or when you come for the GCP or when you come for the Azure, 100% they are public clouds only. And then we have a hybrid cloud also. Hybrid cloud means like there is a customer is not having much budget, and what solution architects are going to provide a solution to them is, so some services they will suggest to take it from the public and public cloud, and some services they're going to take it from the private cloud. So if they feel there is a very sensitive data, if they wanted to keep that particular data into their in their control. Okay, so if it is a private cloud, then mostly that will be under their control, or at least in their particular data center. So because of that reason, some companies they may be interested to keep their some data in the private cloud, and some services they're going to take it from the public cloud. So basically, this hybrid cloud is not existed generally. When you take the services from the two providers, then we can say it is a hybrid cloud. Okay, so if we take the services from the both private cloud and public cloud, then we can say it is a hybrid cloud. But basically, it is not existed, whereas your private cloud is existed in the market and your public cloud is existed, but hybrid cloud is not existed. So when we can say it is a hybrid cloud is when you take the services from the two providers. So these are all the basics to understand. Okay, so this is nowhere related to data engineering. Now I'm coming to our point. Let's take an example why we need to go for cloud or why we need to go for Azure. So now with respect to data I'm talking, this is important for us to understand because there are many projects are existed in the market. There are many projects are existed in the market. Let's take an example. If you take a Microsoft already was having a solution tools in the market. So that is SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services they're having. Okay, SSIS is there, SSAS is there. These two are going to provide the solution for your data. Okay, so if you take a Microsoft an example, there are having many SSIS projects. There are many SSIS projects that existed in the market. So that means Microsoft recommend them to migrate their SSIS projects into Azure Data Factory projects or Microsoft Azure projects. So that means one fine day they're going to stop providing the services to the SSIS, I'm sure, because they already stopped giving updates. Okay, so on SSIS, so definitely they're going to, most of the projects has to move towards the Microsoft Azure. My career was started with SSIS. My career was started with SSIS, and many SSIS developers are ETL developers. Previously, we were used to call as a ETL developers. Now we were called as a data engineers. Hadoop developers or Hadoop engineers, all are data engineers. Whoever is going to provide the solution to the data, they are data engineers. As simple as that. Okay, so if I wanted to migrate my SSIS project, you have to redesign. It's not like a just do some few clicks and it's going to be converted. No, you have to redesign. So if you want to redesign, definitely is going to take the project at least a year. If you have a pure data engineering project, minimum 1 to 2 years is required to redesign. Okay, so redesign means whatever the logic is there existed in the SSIS project, the same logic you have to redesign. You have to redesign. And if I wanted to redesign it, I need to take the services. If I wanted to redesign my SSIS project, I wanted to take the services. So to take the services, we are going to consider Microsoft Azure because we are talking about Azure data engineering role. So just keep in mind, we are going to, especially we are going to touch only Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure is having too many services. There are too many services are available. So that means Microsoft provide the services in the form of infra, in the form of platform, and in the form of software. So in these three flavors, they're providing the services. In these three flavors, they're providing the services. Infra as a services they're providing, and platform, they're giving a platform and they're giving a software. And this is out of the boundary for us. An example for this is like Teams. Most of you are aware of Teams or Office 365 simply, we can say. All these services are falling under software as a services. Okay, so we are going to have a SaaS, PaaS, IaaS. So software as a services is going to be your Teams, Office 365, and you're not going to install anything. So it is going to be readily available. But the software as a services are not going to be part of Azure. Basically, they're going to be part of Office 365. So those also is going to be cloud platform. So Microsoft is branding the services only in the two flavors, that is IaaS and IaaS and PaaS. PaaS and IaaS. These two flavors only you can see from the Microsoft Azure. IaaS means infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service. Okay, so why people are going for infrastructure as a service, I'll talk about it, because even this also is not part of us. We are not going to be part of us. We are not going to provide infra. We are a data engineers. We are going to use the infra which is created by someone else. So what we are going to use in our place is PaaS platform. So PaaS means platform as a service. So they are going to provide the platform and we are going to use it. And we don't need to know about more in detail about the PaaS or IaaS, something like that, because that is purely related for infra team or administrators. So administrators will take care about it. As a data engineer, I asked them, can you give me the data factory access? Or can you give me the access to the Databricks? Once they have given access, then I'm going to consume the data factory to provide a solution or to redesign my SSIS project. If I wanted to redesign my SSIS project, I require Azure Data Factory. I don't care how the Azure Data Factory was created. I don't care is that a platform as a service or info as a service. I need a service. That's all. So keep in mind, all Azure Data Engineering services is going to fall under platform as a service, no infra as a service. So infra as a service, when we can go, I'll talk about it. But in this particular situation, many SSIS projects are available in the market because all the Microsoft customers or most of the Microsoft customers are using SSIS projects to provide the solution for their data. And if you wanted to redesign it, you're going to use these services. All these services are going to fall under the platform as a services, PaaS services. So no one will ask you what is a PaaS service, or no one will ask you is ADF platform as a service or not, because it is purely related to administrator. So here my intention is there are many migrated projects are there in the market. People are migrating towards to the Microsoft Azure projects. So when you convert your SSIS project into here, then we required all these three services minimum. So that is about SSIS projects. Why people are moving towards to this is because of this. And other is, apart from that, apart from Microsoft SSIS, we have a Informatica example. It's not a Microsoft product. It's not a Microsoft product. But there are many Informatica projects are migrating towards to the cloud. When they wanted to migrate towards to the cloud, mostly they're going to choose the Microsoft Azure because Azure is a topmost in the data processing. They have a very strong services for data processing. And here also you're going to redesign. You're going to redesign the services. You're going to redesign your existed logic towards to the Microsoft Azure. In that case also, we are going to use the same Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, and Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. The same services we can use to convert your Informatica project. The same services can be used to convert your data stage projects or talent or anything, any traditional ETL projects can be converted with the help of the same projects, the same services. And there are many Hadoop projects also existed in the market. There are many Hadoop projects also existed in the market. So why people are going to come out of this Hadoop is because run and maintenance of the cluster is very difficult. Okay, it's a very huge cost. And I'll give you at the time of Spark introduction, I'm going to talk about it. Why people are moving out of Hadoop towards to the Spark. The Spark, when I say Spark, that is a Azure Databricks only. When I say the Spark, it is a Azure Databricks. So why people are moving towards to that? What was the problem? And what solution they provided here? So that we are going to see at the time of Spark introduction. This is too early if I talk it now. So simply I wanted to say there are many Hadoop projects are existed in the market. And those projects also is migrating towards to the Microsoft Azure. So in that case, we are going to use the same services to provide the solution, and we are going to redesign everything. We are going to redesign in all the way we are going to redesign. And even in my current project, we were having a GCP project. It is basically, it was a GCP. The project was designed in the GCP, but we migrated towards to the cloud. I mean, of course, this is also cloud. They changed from cloud platform to cloud platform because of the many problems. Okay, so we migrated from GCP to Microsoft Azure. I'm just saying that. So there are many migrated projects out there. So in that case, we are going to use the platform as a services. So most of our data engineering projects are going to be fall under platform as a services. So when you say Azure Data Engineer, 100% that is a platform as a services only. Now, when we can go for other set of services, that is IaaS services. So when we can go for IaaS services is, let's take an example here. Same Hadoop project is there. I wanted to lift and shift my Hadoop projects towards to the cloud, but this is too cost. Okay, because there is a one problem is there with the Hadoop, because Hadoop storage and processing both are tightly coupled. So that was the problem when you come for the Hadoop. Hadoop is having a problem. They are providing the storage to store huge volume of data and varieties of the data, and they're also providing the processing framework to provide the solution for your data. But the problem here is these two are tightly coupled. If the tightly coupled means not the storage and processing, I can say storage and cluster. So processing is going to be happen on the cluster. And storage is also there in the same cluster only. Storage is there in the cluster, processing is also going to be happen in the cluster. So both are tightly coupled. If we can separate them, if we can separate your cluster separate and storage is separate, because storage cost is very, very less. Only processing cost only very huge. Because of this tightly coupled, even if you don't process the data, you have to invest a price for your cluster. You're not using the cluster, but to access this data, cluster is required. If we can separate them, then the cost is going to be reduced like anything. So because of that reason, people are moving towards to the platform as a services. They are isolated. The storage is isolated. Processing is isolated. Okay, so if they wanted to migrate their Hadoop project as it is, or you can just take an example, SAP. They have a SAP project. They wanted to migrate their SAP project as it is. Only thing is, the customer is not interested to have their own premises. Customer is not interested to have their own premises. He is not interested to take the private cloud. He wanted to take the services from the public cloud. But he is not interested to go with the PaaS. He is interested to go with the infra because they wanted to lift and shift their project. They wanted to use the same services, whatever the services they're using here, the same services they wanted to bring into the cloud platform. So if that is the case, your cloud or your solution architects are going to provide the solution by taking the infrastructure from the cloud platform. If we can take the infrastructure from here, what happens is you are going to have a full control on the operating system. You can install whatever the software you wanted to install, because no public cloud provider provide all the softwares. So there is no such kind of public cloud provider. They are going to sell their own services, not third-party services. SAP is not a Microsoft service. Your Oracle is not a Microsoft service. So their services, if the customer is interested to use their services as it is, then they will take the only infra from the cloud providers. Whatever the operating system customer is interested or this particular project is getting required, the same operating system we can install here. But when you go for PaaS, no operating system control. No control on the operating system. But whereas here, you're going to have a control on it. Whatever the softwares you interested, you can install as part of this. So in that case, if you wanted to lift and shift your project as it is without doing changes, In that case, we are going to use IaaS platform, infrastructure as a service. Is everyone clear as of now? Any question? You can unmute if you have a question.
Hello, sir. Can you elaborate that PAS and IAS?
Okay.
I need some more detail.
Okay, I'll give it. Let's take an example. Okay, take this particular example. I have a SSIS project. I have a SSIS project. This is an on-prem project. It's an on-prem. Currently it is existed in my company. Just imagine. I wanted to provide a solution for my SSIS project. So two options are there. If you connect with the solution architect, what happens is he will say in two options based on your requirement. He may say IaaS services or he may say PaaS services. Let's take an example. This customer is interested to lift and shift my SSIS project as it is without doing any changes. Only system is going to change. So this is on-prem system and I wanted to run the same project as it is in the cloud. If I wanted to run it, then we need to go with the IaaS platform. But the cost is going to be more. The cost is more when you go with the IaaS. But if we go with the PaaS, the same project, if you go with the PaaS, what happens is you have to redesign if you go with the PaaS. If it is the IaaS, you can lift and shift. Just take it and keep it there. Okay, so when you go for PaaS, you have to redesign it. You have to recreate everything. You have to rebuild because service is different. If it is a IaaS, then you can install SSIS here. You can install in the cloud and then you can lift and shift to here. In that case, you don't need to do any changes. In that case, we can go with the IaaS, but cost is more. And one fine day, if Microsoft stops providing the services to SSIS, again, you have to redesign. So what Microsoft or what most of the customers are going to do if they have a SSIS project, they're going to redesign it with the PaaS platform. So when we see Azure Data Factory, we can understand how we can do it. Okay, so that is about PaaS platform and IaaS platform. As a data engineer, we are going to be fall under PaaS only. No IaaS. IaaS is related to administrators. Okay. So simply I can say whatever the services we are going to learn as part of Azure Data Engineering is only platform as a services. Any other question?
You mentioned about cluster, right?
Mhm.
Can you explain what is cluster, sir?
Okay. So again, this is too early to talk about the cluster. At the time of Spark, we are going to talk about the cluster. Cluster is nothing but collection of systems. Like let's say um, I have a 3 laptops. Okay, so if I use only one laptop, then it is a single system. If I connect it together, then collection of systems. So this we can say it is a cluster. So collection of systems is nothing but a cluster. How exactly they're going to be connected each other, that will be taken care by network administrators or administrators are going to take care about it. So cluster means a collection of systems. Okay, so why we need to go for cluster? We are going to talk about it. Any other
Sir, in
question?
the IaaS, yeah, in the IaaS,
Mhm.
when we say if we are going to the IaaS, right? So you said the cost is more, right? It
Yes.
is with respect to from the Microsoft or from the manpower.
With respect to Microsoft, I'm saying. Of course, you need to have a administrators is required. Apart from the Azure administrators, you need to have a, like, Oracle. If they wanted to install, they have to know both together, on-prem and Azure. Both they need to know about it. So that is one thing, and we are not going to be fall under IaaS.
Hmm.
Okay, so just ignore it. For
Yeah.
the main intention is why people are going for IaaS is if they are not interested to go with the Azure data engineering services, if they wanted to migrate their services as it is without doing any changes, then they will go for IaaS platform. So IaaS is not only for data engineers. Okay, so this Microsoft is providing the services for everyone, for network developers, DevOps team, data engineering, data science, machine learning. All the services are going to be available here. If they are not interested with the past services, or they have some platform, if they wanted to bring their platform as it is into the cloud, then they will go with the infra. I mean to say with IaaS. Okay, so we are not going to be following under that.
I got it.
Okay, anyone else? So then we need to talk about Microsoft Azure. So till now, I just gave the general approach how the cloud platform is providing. And the reason why I've taken few examples with Microsoft Azure is there are many migrating projects are existed in the market. So all the projects will go towards to the Microsoft Azure if that is SSIS project. 100% they will go. And rest of the projects based on their interest, I've come across many people, they converted their Hadoop projects to Microsoft Azure, and many Informatica projects. Okay, so there are many projects are migrating. If you know the service, if you know Azure Data Factory, then you can work for any kind of migration project. Okay, so in order to migrate your Hadoop project into Azure, you don't need to know about the Hadoop. If you can understand the logic, if you can understand the context, of course, there will be someone to explain the existed logic so that it will be easy for migrating. So definitely it will be there in the team, both the people who knows Hadoop and Azure is going to be taken into the team so that it will be easy to migrate the Hadoop project. If it is a SSIS project, again, it is also the same approach. So some people we required who knows SSIS because you may not be much more aware of the navigation, but if they can explain the context, then you can easily do it in the you can easily do it in our data factory. Basically, what happens in the real time is you'll be having a business analyst. Okay, business analyst will be there to make you understand the requirement. They're going to create the requirement documents and they're going to give a mapping documentation, or at least they're going to give a higher level documentation. Based on that, we can handle it. Okay, so on top of that, they will be having solution architects. Solution architects will be there, and modulars will be there. Data modelers will be there in between that. And later that, we are going to be a data engineers. Okay, so data engineers and testing team and UAT, something like this, it will be there. Okay, so whatever the doubts you're having, which is related to business, you can connect with the business analyst, or you can also connect with the solution architects also if it is not getting solved here. So mostly we can have it here itself. With the business analyst, we can take the business definitions. And this business analyst may not be aware of what is SSIS, but they know about the requirement. That SSIS requirement will be converted into understandable. And those requirement documents they're going to give, and they're going to talk with always us. So to clear the requirements. So we don't need to worry about it. We don't need to know about SSIS in order to migrate SSIS project into data engineering. I mean to say into Azure Data Factory. Okay, so someone is going to provide the document based on the SSIS existed. They're going to verify, and then finally it will given to the business analyst. They're going to share with us. So that is how basically the migration projects are going to be happen. Even in my current project, whatever I have anything which is related to business, then I need to check with the business analyst, because we may not have a direct access to the customer. If you have it, then that's fine. If you don't have it, definitely there will be business analyst. So Microsoft Azure is a cloud computing platform. You can compute the data. You can compute your calculations with the platform. So what they're going to offer, what this Microsoft Azure is offering is, they're offering computing. That means virtual machines, as I said. For IaaS means that is a computing only. And they're going to provide the services for storage. Apart from the compute, they're going to give a platform to store the data. And they're going to provide the services in a networking, analytics, and more. So there are more and more services out there. Okay, so it is designed to help a business develop and run their applications. And we can manage the services globally if we use the Microsoft Azure. As simply, if you see this diagram, so this diagram talks about with respect to Azure Data Engineer. I wanted to provide the solution for my data. I wanted to provide the solution for my big data. Then we required the services. So from where we are going to take the services is from Microsoft Azure, we are going to take the services. The core services from the Microsoft Azure is Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Data Lake Storages, and Azure SQL Database. Whatever the service that you required for us, that you can take it from here. The majority of the services is these four services we are going to use very frequently in our data engineering life. Without ADF, ADB, and ADLS Gen 2, you never expect as a data engineer. If you are going to be data engineer, these three services are mandatory required. I hope everyone following with me.
Sir, is it a one-time purchase or each feature has a premium?
It's not a one-time, pay as you go.
Okay.
If you use for 1 hour, you are going to pay for 1 hour.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I don't need to pay for entire year. For if you take a SSIS, you may have a license based on the year, based on number of years. Whether you use 1 hour every day or 24/7 for every day, they don't care about it. But when it comes to here, just imagine you are using only 1 hour every day, but you are paying for entire year. But when it comes to here, if you use for 1 hour, you are going to pay for 1 hour. You are not going to pay for forever. You got my point, right? So that is a pay as you go model. Pay as you go. Like your electricity bill. Whatever the number of units you used, for that units only you are going to pay. The same thing here also. Okay. So tomorrow I'm going to take you through how we can set up a subscription, how we can create a Microsoft Azure account. Okay, so at least any one of you need to share your screen to create an account. And then subscription is required if I wanted to take any service for my data engineering or for providing the solution for my big data, you require a service. If you want to take the service from Microsoft Azure, how you're going to take it? How you can log into the portal? Portal is their store. This Azure is a Microsoft store. Just imagine. And you have to go into the store to take the items. How can you go into the store? How can you consume the service? On what basis your bill is going to be generated? You're saying pay as you go. How it is going to be identified? So that we are going to see, and the prerequisites for this course, the software perspective I'm saying, that we are going to talk on tomorrow. I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me. So this is my number. You can reach out me if you have anything. If you wanted to talk one-to-one, you can reach out me. I will be available. Okay, so before calling, you just ping me in WhatsApp. Even I'm also working. So after 10, my working hours is going to be started. So please ping me in WhatsApp. So whenever I have a time, I'll call you. Okay. Okay, then. If you are not having any question, we'll see on tomorrow. Thank you for joining.
ఏం చెప్పలేదు.
Okay, and take